Apple's first foldable iPhone really going to cost more than a Galaxy Z Fold? Well, if the latest leaks are true, the answer is yes, and not just a little more, at least $200 more than Samsung's future foldable, the Galaxy Z Fold 8. Now that might not sound too crazy when you're already spending close to $2,000 on a phone, but it raises a real question. Is it worth paying that much more just for the Apple logo? According to multiple reports, Apple's first foldable iPhone, likely to be called the iPhone 18 Fold, is expected to launch next year. A well-known analyst, Tim Long, says the phone could cost around $2,299. That makes it about 20% more expensive than Samsung's latest foldable, the Galaxy Z Fold 6, which currently sells for $1,899. So what about the Galaxy Z Fold 8? That's the one Apple will be going head-to-head with in 2026. Reports suggest Samsung will stick with the same price for that model too, meaning Apple's foldable will still be at least $200 more expensive when it finally arrives. Another report out of China backs this up. On Weibo, a leaker called Insta Digital also claims Apple's foldable will fall somewhere between $2,100 and $2,300. That's right in line with what Tim Long said earlier. So we're now hearing this from two solid sources. So why the high price? Well, Apple is known for premium pricing. This is also a first-generation foldable, which means development costs are higher and there's more risk involved. Foldables are still considered delicate, and Apple will want to make sure it's polished and reliable before it hits the market. But here's the thing. Samsung already has years of experience in this space. By the time Apple releases the iPhone 18 Fold, Samsung will be on its 8th generation foldable phone. So Apple is definitely late to the party, and charging more right out of the gate could be a hard sell, especially if Samsung keeps offering better value. That said, Apple could still pull this off, and here's why. People might look at the iPhone 18 Fold not just as a phone, but also as a mini tablet. If it truly works well as an iPhone and an iPad in one device, some users might see that $2,300 price tag as a deal. After all, buying an iPhone and an iPad separately could cost even more. And let's not forget one interesting detail. Samsung is actually helping Apple here. Reports say Samsung will be supplying the foldable OLED screens for Apple's foldable iPhone. That's right, even if the iPhone 18 Fold outsells the Galaxy Z Fold 8, Samsung will still benefit from every single unit Apple ships. Still, pricing is going to be a big factor. The Galaxy Z Fold 6 is already considered expensive, and a lot of people skip it because of that. If Apple's foldable is even more expensive, people might hesitate even more, especially since foldables are often seen as fragile or less durable than standard phones. At the end of the day, it will come down to how good the experience is. If Apple nails it, seamless design, reliable performance, and great battery life, some people will be more than willing to pay that premium. But for others, especially those just curious about foldables, price might be the deal breaker. So what do you think? Would you spend over $2,000 on a foldable iPhone, or would you stick with a regular phone, or maybe even go with Samsung's foldables? Let us know in the comments, and if you want to stay updated on Apple's foldable plans, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Is Apple really changing the camera design on the iPhone 17 Pro Max? It looks like the answer is yes, and the latest leak gives us our clearest look yet at what could be the most talked about change to the iPhone in years. A new image has surfaced that shows a test case for the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and let's just say the design is already sparking debate. According to this leak shared by a reliable source on X, the iPhone 17 Pro Max might be going with a horizontal camera island, something we haven't seen on any iPhone before. This design spans the entire width of the phone and still keeps the cameras arranged in a triangular layout. But because of this new island shape, the camera bump now looks a lot bigger and more noticeable. For some users, this might feel like a bold welcome change after years of seeing the same camera style. For others, it might take a little time to get used to. Either way, this is not just a small design tweak, it's a big shift. So, what's the reason behind it? Well, it turns out Apple didn't just make this change for the sake of being different. Reports say the new Pro models, including the iPhone 17 Pro Max, will be getting a new 48-megapixel telephoto camera with high resolution. But the camera module is now so big that Apple reportedly had to move things around. That's why the LiDAR scanner, LED flash, and microphone are being pushed toward the edges of the phone. There simply wasn't enough space to keep them in their original position. This camera upgrade also affects the design of the phone cases. The leaked clear case shows a much wider cutout to fit the new horizontal camera island. Some case makers are even preparing designs with separate cutouts, one just for the cameras and another for the rest of the components like the flash and LiDAR scanner. That's how different this setup is going to be. It's not just the camera that's getting an upgrade either. The iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max are expected to come with Apple's latest 3nm chips, which means more speed and better battery efficiency. But here's something even more interesting. Some reports now claim these Pro models might actually jump ahead and use an even more advanced 2nm chip. If that's true, performance and power efficiency could take a big leap. As to the body of the phone, Apple may be switching things up again. The titanium frame introduced to the iPhone 15 Pro series could be replaced with aluminum sides for the iPhone 17 Pro lineup. Whether that's a weight-saving move or just a cost decision remains unclear. But it's another sign that Apple is willing to shake things up with this year's release. Another big talking point is the iPhone 17 Air, a rumored thinner model that could be joining the iPhone lineup. This version is also said to use the new horizontal camera island. While some think the design feels inspired by the Google Pixel series, reports suggest Apple's decision was more about internal changes rather than copying anyone else. All of the new iPhone 17 models will run iOS 19, which is expected to launch alongside the phones. Apple typically announces its new iPhones in September, and based on how early case makers are already preparing, the leaks are starting to come in faster now. And by the way, don't worry about price hikes just yet. Did you hear the rumor that Samsung might put a weaker chip in the Galaxy Z Fold 7? Well, it turns out that's not happening. Samsung is going all in with the full 8-core Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, the exact same one that's powering the Galaxy S25 lineup. That's now confirmed thanks to a benchmark result that puts all the earlier doubts to rest. Let's take a quick look at where this rumor even started. There were talks online about Samsung possibly using a 7-core version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite in the Z Fold 7. The reason behind this: foldable phones usually deal with more heat buildup because of their design, so some believe Samsung might go with a slightly toned down chip to avoid overheating. And to be fair, that idea wasn't completely wild. There is a version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite with 7 cores, specifically made for foldable phones. So when that rumor started, it made sense to some people. Using a chip that runs a little cooler could help with battery life and thermal control. But here's the problem. When you're spending almost $1,800 or more on a phone, you don't want something toned down. You want top-tier performance. Anything less would feel like a downgrade. People expect the Z Fold series to deliver the best of everything, and a weaker processor would definitely fall short. Thankfully, we now have proof that Samsung is not cutting corners here. The Galaxy Z Fold 7 will have the same 8-core Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy version used in the Galaxy S25 series. That means high clock speeds, strong graphics, smooth multitasking, and fast performance. Everything you'd expect from a premium flagship. On top of that, the phone will also come with One UI 8 pre-installed, running on Android 16. So you're not just getting top hardware, you're also getting Samsung's newest software right out of the box. The combination of fast performance and updated software will give users the full premium experience. Now, looking back at that earlier rumor, it's clear that it was never based on anything solid. There were no leaks from trusted sources, and Samsung never hinted at using the 7-core chip. It was just the rumor mill doing what it does best, spinning stories. Still, it's understandable why people were concerned. Foldable phones are still relatively new, and they often face design challenges that regular smartphones don't. Cooling is one of those problems. So, when talk about a weaker chip started making the rounds, it raised a lot of questions. But Samsung has now cleared those doubts without saying a word, just by showing what's actually in the device. The Galaxy Z Fold 7 is expected to launch later this summer. Along with it, Samsung will also be introducing the Galaxy Z Flip 7 and the new Galaxy Z Flip FE, a more affordable clamshell-style foldable. It looks like Samsung is working hard to cover every price range with its upcoming foldables. So if you were worried that the Galaxy Z Fold 7 might come with something less powerful, you don't need to anymore. Samsung is sticking with its best chip, and that's exactly what people want to see in a phone that's expected to cost over $2,000, especially if import taxes go up later this year. In short, the full-strength Snapdragon 8 Elite is confirmed for the Galaxy Z Fold 7. No downgrade, no performance gap, and no missing features, just a powerful foldable phone that delivers on all fronts. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more updates on Samsung, foldables, and all the latest tech news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.